Welcome to the Shady Homestead. Today I'm going to share with you exactly how you can tap a tree just like this one in your own backyard. You're going to need a cordless drill in order to put your tap or your spile into the tree, so make sure you have that. You'll need a hammer to tap your spile into the tree. If you don't have a hammer, it's going to be really difficult to do that. Then you're going to need a spile. You'll need to look at the spiles you purchased from the store. This is a metal spile. It's going to last a long time. That's what I recommend. But if you get a different spile with a different size, then you're going to need to change the drill bit size. This spile calls for a 7/16 inch drill bit, which is what I have on here. And if you look closely at this, it's very sharp on the end, so it's going to penetrate the tree quickly and get out. Therefore, you can put the spile in really well also. If yours calls for 5/16, 3/8, whatever it is, that's the drill bit that you're going to need to have in your cordless drill in order to make this work. Let's put it in the tree. I'll show you exactly how I do that now. In case you're wondering, this is a very large tree. It's a huge maple tree. It's right in the front of my house, which is super convenient for actually gathering sap and syrup. This tree is so big that you can actually get 2 or 3 buckets on it. This year I'm going to try getting 2 buckets on it. I think that's going to work just fine. Now all you need for this, you can put your bucket down, you can put your hammer down. You're only going to need 2 things. You're going to need your spile and you're going to need your cordless drill with the correct bit inside your cordless drill. What I recommend is when you drill into your tree, you start horizontally like this, as you can see, but then you need to tilt your drill down. The idea for tilting your drill downward this way is because when the sap runs up the tree, the sap is going to drip out of the tap into the bucket, and if your spile, like this one here, is tipping up, it's not going to come out as well as it should. If it's level, it's not going to come out very well. You actually want this tip downward toward the ground just slightly so that all of your sap can drip into the bucket or the hose below it. Also, what you want to do is you only want to go in about 1.5 inches on your drill. A helpful thing to do is put a piece of tape around here, take some kind of marker right here, and make sure that you don't go in over 1.5 inches. 1.25 inches is probably perfect. That should be plenty. So stop. If you think you've gone far enough, just stop, and that should be good for now. So with a spile like this, you can see on the end here that's got this little bit on the bottom. That's so you can use your hammer and tap the spile into the tree. It also has this hook up here where your bucket goes on top of so it doesn't slide down. Once you tap this into the tree like that, you can see how it's at a slight angle. All you have to do is tap it very lightly. If you tap it any harder than that, you could damage the tree, which we obviously don't want to do. But this seems to be just about perfect. If you can pull it out by hand, it's probably too loose. You have to remember, after maple syrup season, you'll come back in here and you'll release all of these, and you want that to be an easy process. You don't want it to be too difficult. So the direction that I put this spile in is south. And since I need to put 2 taps on here, this is south, but this direction here is also south, more southeast. And the idea of that is that this is the warmest side of the tree. When the snow melts, it runs up the tree, which creates the sap, and then out into the bucket again. All you need to do now is hang the bucket on the spile. But if you have a bucket that goes on the ground and you have tubes coming out of your spile into your bucket, that's different. Just attach the tubes, put the bucket on the ground, walk away, and do the next tree. It's really that simple. So a good idea for this, I highly recommend, is having a sled or something to pull all your gear around. Tonight or today, what I'm doing is I'm tapping all of these trees because tomorrow it's supposed to be in the mid-50s, so that snow is really going to melt. I think it's really going to speed things along. I haven't had any trees that have been giving up any sap yet. I think it's good to have your buckets out there, or however you get your sap in bags or whatever, so that you can be prepared and collect as much sap as you possibly can. Take advantage of those hot days where the sun comes out. It's gonna make your life a whole lot easier when you're pulling this around your yard instead of carrying everything individually. These are the trees that I really like to tap. I've had really good luck with this one in the past. You've got this full trunk right here. On the right, you've got the main trunk in the middle that gives off a ton of sap, especially when it's sunny outside. I think starting tomorrow, with the sun being out, with it being really warm, that's when you're going to see these trees start to really run. So if you ever tap trees and you find out that the sap isn't running yet, don't be discouraged. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 days. Sometimes it takes couple days. Sometimes it's because it's later in the day like it is now and there's overcast and the sun went away. So I just drilled this other tree right here in my yard. This is the last one I'm doing this evening. And unlike the other ones, it's actually running a little bit. There is some sap coming out. A little bit, but there's still some sap coming out, which means we're very close to prime time. You can see that it's a different shade. It's been dripping down the tree right there. So if we back up, the hole I tapped is up there, and this is dripping down. So I need to get a spile in there in a bucket here, start collecting this, because I think it's really going to start to go in just a couple of days. Okay, so it's the next day, and I was looking forward to coming home after work to get some sap in some buckets here. But before that even happened, my wife texted me and she said, hey, some of the buckets fell off the spiles. I was like, what do you mean the buckets fell off? And I thought, oh, I got new buckets this year, and the handle doesn't fit on the spiles very well with this system. So that is not supposed to be there, but instead up on the spile right here, just like that one. And we do have some sap running right there. You can see that. Slowly dripping on there. Slowly dripping through. We don't have too much down there, just a little bit in that corner. And the reason why the bucket fell off is because if you look at the spile here where it connects, this is a thicker plastic handle, and most of the time these buckets have the wire handles that would fit on there. So to fix that issue, I'm simply going to take a little bit of paracord. I made sure I cut 7 little pieces, and I'm going to put a loop on the handle, and then the loop is also going to go around the spile right here so it stays on. And I can tell that this is running as well. So from this glance, that's basically what it looks like. It just hangs down a little bit, and that's the final result. Got a slip knot up here. I just need to pull it open to take the bucket off. I can dump it to where I store it in different buckets, and this is how it's going to go. So as you can see, it's really starting to warm up. Look behind me here. This is a trout stream that runs through our property, and it's really starting to get a good flow here. Comes in from up there. The snow has gone down significantly in the last few days. In the upcoming video, it's going to be probably about maple syrup again, but also about how to cook down the maple syrup over an open fire. Super basic and super simple. If you didn't check out my last video, please do that right now. That was a video sharing with you exactly how to get started using backyard, simple, practical maple syrup supplies that anybody can afford and anybody can do. Remember, simplify your life to increase its quality. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again next time.